Huge welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name's Gemma. I'm a registered nutritionist. I'm also one of the health coaches at Second Nature. If this is the first time that you're joining us tonight, then welcome. Essentially, these are monthly Q&As with me and Sheila, where she'll be talking to us about her journey on the weight loss medication. So she's currently a member on the Second Nature program, and it'll be coming up to 2 years soon, won't it? I feel like it's,
No. Oh,
yeah,
well,
like where
not well, August. If you
August.
if
All
you
right, Neil.
call
I mean, if we
August
if the year
September
if the year
soon.
keeps
Yeah.
going as quickly as it's going,
Yeah.
then it'll be
Yeah.
2 years.
I know.
So tonight's installment, we're going to be talking about Sheila's experience with navigating diet and exercise and her habits around this, and how she's found the Second Nature program since she's been on it. So, Sheila, would you like to kick us off and tell us a little bit about your journey? So what I'd really like to know is, go back to the very beginning before you started the medication. What was your diet like? What were your exercise levels like? And how have you transitioned into the habits that you're in now?
Yeah, cool. So, hello everyone. Yeah, I actually started the program in August 23, so that's whatever it is now, but not quite two
Not
years.
quite 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so prior to that, for anybody who doesn't know me, I have yo-yoed, dieted with about 6 stone, on off for about 5 times in my lifetime and never been able to keep it off. I've done every diet known to man and woman, and yeah. So I was at the end of my tether, August 23, but I had a lot of crooked thinking throughout this whole kind of like lifetime journey. And where I was I was either on a diet or I was binging. There was no middle ground, right? And I'd binged. And if I wasn't on a diet, you would not catch me eating anything remotely healthy. It would be just crap, basically. Crisps, sweets, cakes, fish and chips, you name it. Don't give me a salad if I'm not on a diet. Right, that's exactly my kind of like crooked thinking that used to go on right throughout my adult life because I'd just dieted for so long. I'd always needed to lose weight and never seemed to be able to keep it off. So back in August 23, I was at my heaviest again. And I just had enough, and I just thought, either I've just got to resign myself to the fact that I'm just going to be obese, right, for the rest of my life. Or I do something for the final to try and do something completely
Mhm.
different that I've never done before. And I think anybody who's heard my story before, I looked at bariatric surgery, and things, decided that wasn't for me, and fortunately came across the medication, and thank goodness, because it's actually been completely and utterly life changing for me. I also found so I found it first of all because I followed a story with Oprah. And she looked absolutely fantastic. She'd always struggled with the weight, it was working for her. And then I researched into the UK suppliers and obviously found Second Nature. And Second Nature, the big thing for me was, if I'm going to inject something into my body, I have to trust who I'm getting it off.
Mm.
And I have to know that it's bona fide and everything. And I went with Second Nature because, that lots of things, right? But one of the key things was I was confident and I felt comfortable because they're backed by the NHS, and the NHS was already doing lots of things, and people get referred to Second Nature on the NHS, for the program. So that gave me the confidence basically to go with Second Nature. But so sorry, I'm back to where I was, Jem. So yeah, exercise non-existent. I was up near at 17 stone. I found it very, I went walking because I got into walking during lockdown when I lost a lot of
Mm,
weight, and I was still quite into that because it did give me energy, right, to actually go out and get back to nature and get walking. But I'd started to suffer with my knee, a back with all
mm.
that weight on. It was kind of aggravating my arthritis in my knee and things. So I found exercise quite challenging, to be fair, and it wasn't enjoyable for me. So that's the other downside of having all that weight on, is the fact that it was either I was eating loads of rubbish, and I just and I didn't have any energy. I felt really sluggish, and because I was
Mm.
eating all the wrong things, I wasn't exercising, so I wasn't
It's going to
doing
have an
anything.
impact, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just a vicious kind of circle. So I started the medication and the program. And at first, when I started the program, I watched, I think for between 3 and 6 months, I went out walking, not every day, but, and I would listen to the daily kind of learnings, if you like,
Oh,
on,
the
on the
articles,
program.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just and the videos that are there on the program and that, and some of it, of course, I'd heard some of it before, but a lot of this
Mm,
stuff with mindset change, um, you need to hear it a lot before it actually gets in there, and you need
of
to practice it
course.
a lot before it actually becomes a new habit, if you like. So
Mm.
I did a lot of that, and I was quite conscientious with it, but the eating um has changed dramatically. I mean, obviously, when you first start the medication, um, you're building up the dose, and but immediately for me, it felt really different. That food voice that was driving me to eat a load of rubbish, to look in the fridge every 2 minutes and things, that had gone, and I was kind of quite excited about the recipe book that yeah, God, I love the
All the
recipes.
recipes. I
Oh,
know
I
I'm
love the
biased, but they're
recipes in
so good.
Second
It's so
Nature
good.
program book. Um, and so I was trying lots of recipes. It does help because my hubby is a chef, or he's not doesn't do it anymore, but he's a trained chef. So it was great to kind of like, pick all my recipes out and hand them over. Can
Love
you do
that.
this, love? Can you do this?
Literally make it like so much easier for you just to
Yeah.
crack on.
I have, oh, don't get me wrong though, I do stuff myself as well. But yeah, so, and it was, new stuff I was eating. But then gradually over time, I didn't have the appetite that I'd had before either with the medication. So I wasn't eating as much. But I
Mm,
just realized that I was just not attracted to the crap anymore.
it's
And I
so
was attracted,
interesting.
I
Why
know.
do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I think we need to ask the medical team, Jem,
Mm,
and see what they say about it. Because even now, right, and it's got after what? Let me work it out how much it is. So what is it? August,
it's
September,
about a year
October,
and a
November,
half.
December, January, February, March. So that's 7. So yeah, just over 19 months, right? I've been on it. And even now, I kind of think about it. And I think what it's allowed me to do is be able to listen to what my body wants to eat instead of having
Mm,
this kind of like crooked thing. That's because it's not like a diet anymore. It's just I eat what I feel like I want to eat when I
mm,
want to eat it. Now, at first, again, to share, I did try and kind of adopt an intermittent fasting kind of routine. So and I still do have that.
mhm.
However, if I wake up and I'm hungry at 9 o'clock, then I don't not have anything to eat. I
Good.
do.
Honoring your
I'll have some
hunger. It's
breakfast.
so important.
Yeah.
So important.
So I'm kind of, I'm listening to my body. But what I
Mm,
have done is done intermittent fasting. And I had this thing where I would try not to eat. And some days it's I don't even think about it. And it's, and it comes like, oh my goodness, it's 2 o'clock and I've not eaten yet. I best get something,
Mm,
I need to get something to eat. Um, However, I had this thing where I try and wait until after 12 o'clock to eat. And then what that has done for me is, I know Second Nature program is you eat 3 meals a day, right?
hmm.
However, when you don't eat until after 12, it's hard to fit 3 meals in.
Of
So
course, of course.
my kind of like natural kind of habit, if I'm not eating till 12, sometimes it would be breakfast that I would eat. And my
Hmm.
go-to breakfast is crushed Weetabix, Greek full fat yogurt, right? Never, I
Good
don't do
choice.
any, right. So, and I got into that actually when I used to do the keto diet, right?
Mm.
Is, not having anything that's low fat. Never. I eat butter, I eat full fat
It's such
Greek
an
yogurt.
important nutrient, and
I
people
know,
go for the low fat, not realizing how much sugar there is in it. So,
I know.
you
Well,
know,
it's just full with carbs, isn't it?
mm,
If it's low fat, it's just full with sugar and carb. Well,
also there's no
sugar equals
flavor in it.
carbs.
If you go for the full
No.
fat yogurt, it tastes so much better.
Oh, it's delicious, delicious. Full fat cream. You know,
Mm-mm-mm.
I don't actually have milk, really. Because well, on one of my diets from way back, I think it was Lighter Life actually. I trained myself not to have milk in any of my
Why?
well, it just wasn't as effective. It was said it wasn't as effective if you had a milk, whereas you could have
So
unlimited tea and
interesting.
coffee if you didn't have milk, right? So at that time, I conditioned myself basically to not having
Mm.
milk, and
But
now,
this is what happens with the mindset because you put these rules and these food rules and these drink rules, and then when it comes to actually trying to make sustainable changes, your brain's like, hold on a second, I've been following this for the last 10 years, and I think it makes it so much harder.
mm, well, I still don't have milk in tea or coffee, right? I still have everything
Mm,
black, but I've just got used to that because it feels like it's like when you stop having sugar in your tea and coffee, right?
you get
If you
used to it.
get one with tea with sugar in it, it's like, oh, too sweet.
Mm, but
Can't
it's
drink that.
that's it. It's taste preference as well. I guess it's
Yeah,
like coming against taste preference and not restricting yourself and like finding that balance there.
yeah. So I don't have. All I was trying to say was I don't tend to have milk as
Mm,
such. I might have a drink of milk. But I would still have probably semi-skimmed if I did that rather than full
yeah.
fat milk, and that's the only point I was getting to. But everything that
Mm,
I drink black tea and coffee because it's just too sweet for me now, having any kind of milk in them.
mm,
So yeah. So anyway, sorry, where I was at. So now, I tend to. I, I've even noticed. So I was having breakfast because we have a family thing where we like a Sunday breakfast. We probably wouldn't have
mm-hmm,
it till about 12 anyway, right? But we'd have a full Sunday breakfast. We'd have bacon, egg, sausage, black
mm-hmm.
pudding, even haggis. Now that we're in Scotland, we do like a bit of haggis
I've
going on.
still not tried it. I've still not tried
Oh,
it.
you've got to
I
try
know.
it.
One
You've got
day.
to try it, but you've only got to try the night. Get the decent stuff. Don't get the cheap stuff if you're going to
I
try it.
wouldn't even know the difference of the stuff to get. I have to wait until I'm in Scotland and then I'll try
All
it.
right. Oh yeah, because you're coming soon, aren't you? Yeah.
Hmm.
So yes, so we like a full breakfast. So and at first on the medication, I still used to enjoy it, right?
Hmm.
And but obviously not as much. I would not eat as much, and I didn't have. I still did. I was still kind of like staying off the carby stuff, quite a bit as well, purely
Mm. Why?
because,
Yeah, I was going to say, why is that?
well, purely because again, there was a bit of thinking in there in that I know that carbs are carbs are are a thing for me, and that's what makes me put on weight. So if I eat, and in
Mm,
particular, I've noticed now that I'm kind of like, I eat what I want to eat these days, right? But I've even noticed, right, if I eat potatoes, right, I don't feel good. right? I don't know whether I've got some kind of
Interesting.
intolerance for potatoes. Sometimes I crave potatoes, and I like
Mm,
them, but it doesn't make me feel good, and it makes me put on weight way more than anything else that that I've eaten or drunk or whatever.
mm,
I find so. Anyway, I'll come back to that, but so still kind of doing low carby stuff, try keeping away from potatoes. I'm not a lover of rice, to tell you the truth, anyway. I do like bread, but what I moved to was sourdough. So, like, dark rice sourdough is my favorite,
hmm.
or seeded
Good source of
sourdough.
fiber.
Yeah. They're my favorites. And I didn't tend to, I don't, you don't eat as much, do you? They're only quite thin slices. And,
Mm,
you know, uh, so yeah. So I moved to them. Anyway, what the story I was kind of saying was, I'm at a stage now where if I have Sunday breakfast, it's
mm,
sourdough toast. This is my favorite thing, and I don't want sausage, don't want bacon, don't want any of that stuff, right? My favorite thing is sourdough toast with avocado and poached egg, and
well, yeah, a woman after
and
my own heart.
yeah, a bit of tomato and
Mhm.
rocket rocket thrown over the top. Now that sounds really poncy, doesn't
That
it?
is a
Right?
gorgeously balanced meal as
I
well.
know, I know. And do you know what? I've just got into it. And that is what I thoroughly and I would choose that now over your
Mm,
sausage, your bacon, your egg, and any of that stuff. And that is exactly the sorts of things that I would go to as opposed
mm,
to anything else. Other things that I eat a lot more fish these days than I used to. And
mm.
not fried fish either. We eat quite a bit of salmon.
Oh yeah, I love a bit of
We
salmon.
have,
What do you have it
yeah.
with?
I'd always have it with greens. Do you know what? I mean, this is the Second Nature program got me into this. That balance plate to
Hmm.
start with, right? And
Oh,
and
the
I have,
balanced plate model is etched in my head forever.
I
Whenever I'm putting
know,
meals together, I'm like, oh, do I have this in there?
I know, I know. However, I do tend to kind of like push the carbs out a bit. So because my appetite has not been as big as it would, I probably wouldn't have potatoes or rice or whatever
Mm.
with it. I
What
would
about
have
things like beans, like things like chickpeas? And would you include those in your meals, or do you include those?
no. You see, I'm not a lover of that kind of thing. I've never
Mm,
really, I've never really liked that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, if we have a chili, it'll have beans in it, and it'll have some baked beans and maybe some kidney
yeah.
beans in it as well. So we'll have something like that. But no chickpeas and I mean, I do like hummus, for example, right?
Yeah,
But
oh, hummus is great. But would you have hummus with a pita bread? Like a wholemeal pita bread?
yes, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
if I was having
combination.
it. Yeah, yeah. If I was having it. But they're not really in our recipe book,
Mm,
our kind of that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, if we've got a party on or like that, or there's a buffet, we're doing kind of like snacky stuff, then we'd have
mm.
hummus and stuff. But no, it's not in our recipe book really. We're kind of like we like curries, and we've got a really good salmon curry going that my
Oh,
friend
I've
gave
never
me the
had
recipe
salmon in
of.
a curry before. You have to
Oh,
give
do you
that to
know?
me. I'd love
Yeah,
to try that.
I will because it's absolutely delicious. And I would have thought the same, right? I would have thought the same, but seriously, my taste buds and the foods that I'm attracting to now are
Mm,
completely different than
that's
they were.
interesting. I
Yeah.
do wonder as well. So you haven't reduced your medication yet, have you?
No, I've got 2 weeks left of my max medication.
Mm,
And I have noticed my appetite coming back. I can eat more now.
yeah. Are you getting cravings for carbs at all?
Touch wood, no.
Touch
No.
wood, no.
If I eat now,
Mm,
let's put it this way. If I eat carbs, right, I do want more of it later, right? So it is a
of course.
moreish. kind of
Is that
thing.
even if you're having that as part of a balanced meal? So if you were having the hummus with pita bread and chicken, something like that, do you think you would still crave it after that?
Maybe not, maybe not. I think it's if I
Mm,
eat. So, for example, my daughter and I went out for coffee today, and I had a piece of carrot cake, right?
mm. Oh yeah, tasty.
Um, and I want some more now.
Do you know what I think it is though? I think there's certain foods and each person's different, but I hear this quite a lot when I'm coaching that some people will eat certain foods and it always kind of comes back to carbs and sugar that they find themselves wanting more of them. So I would always recommend, and I think if you reduce this medication and you notice that your appetite is coming back, really try and focus on those starchy carbs and the fibrous carbs. So you said you like rye bread, that's great. But I think then what that's going to do, it's going to help to fill you up, but it's also going to try and curb those cravings instead of eating it on its own, where you might feel like you want more, i.e., with the carrot
Yeah,
cake. If you're having protein, you're having fat, you've got your veggies in there, hopefully it should stabilize you a bit without having an impact on you, having an impact on your weight, because carbs are such an important part of the diet in appropriate amounts. But I hear what you're saying because I think, each person is individual, but just a little bit of my nutrition advice there.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for that, Jem. Yeah, no, I agree, but and I think it's as well. A little bit. I always have a bit of dark chocolate, right? After I still need some, and throughout my diet, diet. It's not been a diet. I don't.
Mm,
I mean, I
like
say it to
a
anybody.
change in diet, a change
Yeah,
in diet.
yeah. So, I like a bit of dark chocolate after my tea to kind of just get that sweet and taste like pudding
Mm,
taste or whatever. So I'll have a bit of dark chocolate after my tea. Now, dark chocolate, I can have one bit and I don't need any more. If I had
mm,
milk chocolate,
you'd want more.
I would want more.
Yeah, I notice
I
exactly the same thing. I love a bit of dark chocolate after dinner. And it's like I try not to make it into too much of a habit, but sometimes it's nice. I think the darker it is, the less you want of it because I feel like you
Yeah,
feel more satisfied because it's quite like I don't know what the what the word is that I'm trying to think of, but I think sometimes with milk chocolate or white chocolate, it just the taste of it, you do want to like naturally eat more of it. I think it's easier to eat.
yeah. Well, it's the sugar content, isn't it? And it's
Mm,
kind of moreish, and you end up just craving some more. And
of
so if I
course.
stay away from them,
Hmm.
so on Sunday, I mean, I hope I'm not putting folk off now because I'm 19 months in. I'm kind of like I'm at
No,
my
but you're being
target.
honest. I think that
Yeah.
honesty is important.
Yeah. On Sunday, right, we'd had a few drinks. We had a friend up from Manchester and we'd had a few drinks on Saturday. So on Sunday, I was craving sugar. I wanted sugar. So it get to Sunday
Naturally.
afternoon and we sat watching the telly and I said, anybody fancy an after eight mint? But I knew if we opened them after eight mints, right, because they were left from Christmas, right? So
That's pretty
oh,
good going if they've
it
not
is
been
good
open since
going.
Christmas.
I know. Anyway, we opened them after eights, but I, it were kind of like, oh, I could have made myself feel quite ill because if you do, the
Mm,
trouble is with the medication, right? Or what I found, because it slows your digestive system down, you can eat certain things, but you
mm.
don't really know you've had too much of it.
Until it's too late.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then you feel quite ill.
Mm.
Yeah. So those are the only times I've kind of felt ill on the medication where I've maybe,
When you say ill, do you mean like sickly kind of feeling?
yeah. I mean, well, there have been two occasions with the medication where I've been violently ill, right? But
Oh
only two. So
gosh.
in 19 months, right? Only two
Mm,
times. One of them, we were at an all-day wedding. So um, we were drinking from lunchtime until midnight, right?
which is
And
bound to
I
have, I
don't
think
mean
even if you
massive.
weren't on the
Yeah,
medication,
yeah.
you'd probably
So
still have an
I
impact.
don't mean excessively kind of like knocking it back, but they're just a
Mm,
steady flow of, you know, different drinks, all day, and then lots of
mm,
different kind of bits of food. So, it didn't feel like I was eating or drinking too much at the time, but because that digestive system slowed, right?
mm.
Oh my goodness, in the middle of the night, I was violently ill, really
Sheila.
ill. I know. So that
But do you
wasn't
know what? You
pleasant.
learn. You
I
learn.
learned from
Sometimes
that.
we have to
Yeah,
do
I
these
learned big
things.
time from that. And then another time was I hadn't had fried foods for it because I'm just not attracted really to fried foods anymore.
Mm,
But I hadn't had fish and chips for a long time, and um, we were out for we had some family staying, and we went out for tea, and it was one of those places where it's fish and chips or a burger or something like that.
hmm
And I thought, oh, do you know, I haven't had fish and chips for a long time. I'm going to have fish and chips. So I had fish and chips. I didn't even eat it all. I was full before I actually ate the whole thing, but I ate quite a bit of the fish, not only a couple of chips or whatever. But oh
hmm
my goodness, I suffered so badly that
No.
night with really bad heartburn, and I couldn't sleep for it. It was that bad, and I couldn't get rid of it. I mean, I do take, like omeprazole
Mm,
as well, kind of thing, but I couldn't get rid of it, and that made me
just
feel
didn't
really ill.
agree
So
with
that,
you.
yeah, that just put me off completely.
Mm.
Fried foods.
Would you have been able to eat that before being on the medication?
Oh my goodness me, yeah, I'd have eaten that and a few slices of
Mm.
bread
I
and
also
butter,
wonder
and
as well, I think because your body probably got used to number one, less food, but also if you're not really eating fried foods and then you go in and you have that, your body might just be like, whoa, 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 what's going on here kind of thing.
it did. I just,
Mm,
oh, I wasn't well at all, and didn't sleep well either. So no, that kind of put me off. But if I get to kind of like how I've changed now, um,
hmm
I actually am attracted to. I love, I eat quite a bit of fruit. I eat quite a lot of berries. Kiwi fruit, I've kind of like,
I love
I'm
kiwi.
into at the moment. Melon
Skin on or skin off?
off the kiwi.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I've never eaten skin.
No. So you have to get the nice ones. Don't get the ones that are really hairy. You have to get like the decent ones.
Oh right.
Otherwise,
I've
yeah.
never, I didn't know you could eat
That's
it.
where the fiber's at. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ah,
It's really good. And also it makes it so much easier when you're chopping it up to like not take the skin off. Yeah, would recommend with the skin. But just get the nice
oh.
ones with the like smooth skin, not the hairy bits, because that does not taste very
Oh no, I was going to say I wouldn't. No, that's why I've never done it. Oh, I'll give it a go now then. But I've got this big thing for cantaloupe melon, and you can hardly get them anywhere. But I
nice.
love cantaloupe melon. So yeah. So my go-to food on a morning is normally crushed up Weetabix, a whole load of Greek natural yogurt, melon, berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, those, a
That sounds
handful of
good.
handful of each. I've always got some in the
Mm,
in the fridge, and my grandkids love bowls of fruit as well, so I always have that kind of stuff in the fridge. And yeah, and that all mixed together, and that can last me then until about 3ish, and then I start getting
hmm
peckish about 3ish, and but because I'm going to have my tea, right, my dinner,
mm,
and we're going to have probably a meal, a proper meal. I tend to try and just grab something at that point in time. So it would be
mm.
if we've got um we normally have cooked meats in, so it might be a slice of ham, but I'll have it with a spring onion or a pickled onion or a bit of
Mm,
cheese with, so it'll just be like a snack, but it's normally
yeah.
protein with a bit of something thrown in.
Mm,
And yeah, I love kind of like getting me green kind of balance by throwing a bit of rocket in or a
of
bit of raw
course.
raw spinach. Tend to be my kind of
Get the
go-tos.
nutrients in while you can.
Yeah. And then or boiled eggs, right?
Boiled eggs are a good one. And the thing is, I tell people this all the time. Pop them in, stick them in the fridge. They last a couple of days,
Mm.
and they're just good to grab and go. And they're cheap as well. So, you can cook them in bulk. Done out of the way.
Yeah, or a bit of chicken with the same, with a bit of spinach
Mm,
and spring onion. I always remember spring onions being, um, if anybody's done Slimming World, spring onions and celery, and there were a few other things as well. They're known as speed foods.
speed
Um,
foods.
Speed foods, yeah, because they speed your metabolism. Because when you eat those foods, so they tell you all about this on Slimming World.
Mm,
When you eat those foods, you're actually expending more calories digesting that particular food than you are eating it. And that's
Mm.
why they call it speed foods, because it
That is
speeds up your weight
very,
loss.
very interesting. I have opinions on that, but I won't talk about
Right, yeah.
it.
Well, celery is one of them as well. But if there's one thing I really don't like, and I have never acquired the taste. There's a lot of things over my life. When I started off as a kid, I hated the taste of, and I've acquired the taste as we've got older.
Mm,
Right, I can't do that for celery. I just really don't like celery.
no.
Um,
I do like a spring onion though. They are good
oh,
in there.
spring
If you
onion.
like the second nature recipes, the savory slice recipe, they're great
Mm,
in that.
yeah. Oh, savory slice. So you see, that's another one I do. So I do that. I cook a big kind of like, or crustless quiche, whatever you want to call it,
Mm.
savory slice. But I do cook one of those normally every
And
other
they're good
week.
for, as well to keep for snacks. You can have it as a
Yeah,
breakfast,
well,
you can
yeah,
have it as a snack.
that'll
It's
be my
so
afternoon.
versatile.
Yeah,
Mm,
that'll be my afternoon thing. So I tend to do it with cheese and onion, and then I'll put
nice.
either asparagus and or kind of long stem broccoli. I like it with that as well. So that's getting your greens in too. So yeah, I'll
Yeah,
do
love
that.
it.
So I have like a snackette in the afternoon, and then it's normally a meal, a proper meal,
Hmm.
in the evenings. And it'll be, like I said, we have salmon. Because my husband's, we everything we have, whether we have meat um, or fish, it's normally got some kind of creamy sauce with it, right? And it's either kind of a peppercorn sauce or a parmesan sauce or a
Yum.
Diane sauce, that we tend to do that, and then
Hmm.
vegetables, and it'll be a big, lots of greens, lots of different greens, broccoli, asparagus, peas, you know,
Hmm.
um, green beans are another favorite. My husband likes swede and carrots, so he's kind of trying to stay off the potatoes. So instead of that, he'll have swede and carrots mashed together, so
Hmm.
it feels like he's getting a bit of
You're still getting your
mash.
starchy stuff in there, yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. So it's still, I like that as well. That's
Have you
nice. And
tried the cauliflower mash before?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
that is a good
Yeah,
one.
that's
That's a
nice. Yeah,
really, really
that's
good
nice
one.
as well. It's good on the top of a shepherd's pie
Mm,
or whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll have that kind of thing. We still have curries and chilies. If I have those kind of things, I tend to, because I'm not a lover of rice and I'm trying to stay away from still try to stay away from the carby stuff. Um, then I'll have broccoli. Not and
Mm.
not always broccoli rice or anything. I like chopping the florets up to little florets because I do like to get crunch. I like a bit of crunch with my
It's the
meal.
texture, isn't it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you have too much of the same sort of texture, it's not really, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so I'll have kind of like, so I might have a chili with broccoli florets, and that does it for me. And the same with
Mm,
curries and that as well. But I do have things like, we like parathas in this house with our curries.
nice.
We're from Bradford, so chapatis are the thing with your curry. In Bradford, you don't, it's rice is, yeah, people have it, but chapatis is the thing really.
Mm.
So yeah, we do like that with our curries.
So
Um,
it sounds like you're still eating regularly throughout the day. So even if
oh
you are
yeah,
intermittent fasting, you've still got that, like, midday, 3 p.m., 7 p.m. sort of routine going on. And I think that's something that's really going to benefit you when you start to reduce the medication, because it's like your body will still be expecting food at those times, even if your appetite does increase a little bit, at least you know that you're going to have that there.
yeah, yeah. I'm going to test it and see. So it's all about learning now.
Mm,
Now I'm going into this phase of, because I seem to have plateaued now. So I've now been 10 and a half and thereabouts around. I play around sometimes, like this weekend, 'cause after the after eights, I'd put a few pound on, right? And that was purely, it's all to do, you'll know better than I, what they call it. They call it
mm.
something glycemic. Is it your,
In glycemic index, it's very, very unlikely though that a couple of after eights or whatever would make you put on weight. Thing is with carbs, when we eat more carbs, our body holds on to more water. So if we
right?
stand on the scales, it might look like we've gained a few pounds, but in theory it's water weight, it's not actually fat.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, that then scares them off having carbs, because some people will go out for a dinner, they'll have a pizza, they might eat chips, something like that. They might go home and weigh themselves. Don't weigh yourself in the evening, because number one, you've got a whole day's worth of food and drink in you. It's going to be heavier. But even the next day, you might stand on the scales and be a few pounds heavier. It's very, very, very unlikely to be fat. So that's why I always reassure people, water weight. And this is why I also recommend body measurements, because a lot of the time the number on the scales might not be changing, but our body composition physically is. So if we're using body measurements, we're kind of seeing that gradual decline, or however we hope to have it turn out.
Yeah. I think that
Does that make
that's
sense?
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, I was definitely holding something this weekend because I'd put a few pounds. Obviously, we'd been out Saturday.
Mm,
I'd eaten chocolates. We'd been out for a Sunday roast, and I'd eaten potatoes. Actually, that were
mm,
another thing. So it's like potatoes are the devil for me. Right. Um, so yeah. So I kind of like thought, oh God, I've put a few pound on, and that's
mm.
even taking the
Yeah,
medication.
I honestly, I would not even think about that too much, because I think it's different, right? I think if you were eating like that every single day, it's probably gonna accumulate over time. But 1 or 2 days of eating differently or eating a little bit more is really unlikely to have an impact on your weight in the grand scheme of things. So it's so important to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, no. And I do, right? I do. I don't think of myself as being on a diet now.
Mm,
I think of myself as eating what I'm attracted to. And sometimes I'm attracted to, you know, things more than others. But
of
generally
course.
through the week. And if I go out, so if we move on to the exercise thing, so
Hmm.
when I first started, so as I said, it was a real chore, and I didn't do a lot, to be honest with you, because I felt so
And
big
also with
and
your
so
knee as well.
yeah. So I felt so big, but I did go out walking and I carried on walking. But after I'd lost in the first few months, I lost around 3 stone. In about the
Wow.
first, well, 4 months, I believe, I lost
Mm,
about 3 stone. And so then by the January, I felt a lot better.
hmm
And I joined a gym. Um, as well because it was around my 60th birthday. So no, actually in the December before
hmm
my 60th birthday, I joined the gym and I got into it. And now I've always kind of like been a member of a gym, right? Not always been, right? But
But
I've
you've been a
I've kind of
member. That's a
like
starting
throughout the
point.
yeah, I've always kind of from a young age, I've always known the importance of weights, right? And
Mm,
keeping your muscles
of course.
strong and healthy. And I think that's even more important, right, on weight loss medication, right? There are these big myths out there that you're gonna lose a lot of muscle. You're not gonna lose
Mm,
any more muscle on the medication, I don't believe, than you would normally with a big weight loss, right? On any
hmm
kind of weight loss journey, whatever you're
Yeah.
doing, right? But it is important to keep that muscle mass for me, I think. And I think doing some weight training
Mm,
is the way to go. I'm not a cardio girl, I'm not a runner, right? So I do a bit to keep my heart healthy, but
hmm
no, it's
Also, if you're
about
still doing
weights.
your walking every day, then you're getting your
Well, I'm
cardio
not
in
doing it
there.
every day. I only go walking when I don't go to the gym. So I'm not
Mm,
so I like to do something.
yeah,
And I also like the kind of like the balance of it. I do like go to the gym
of
because I
course.
like I like me nice bits. I like a little swim after my gym and I like a
Mm.
bit of jacuzzi and a bit of steam room. So I like
And
those
you
things.
can count your swimming as your cardio.
I suppose, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I don't right. I do 10 lengths. That's all. I treat it as a bit of a stretch.
10 is better than
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. I treat it as a bit of a stretch, I suppose, rather than a workout. But no, the main thing is I got one of the guys at the gym to give me workout,
Nice.
and I do. The big thing or the in thing at the moment is that you focus on your top half one day, your bottom
Mm,
half another, and well, that's what I tend to do. So today I went and I did my top half, I did my arms, my shoulders, my chest.
Nice.
But I always do my core, always do my
Hmm.
core. And then wait, I can't remember the other day. I went, I've been again this week and I did my legs. Um,
Oh,
so,
leg day is
and my
always the
core.
worst when you try and like stand up or sit down.
I
The
know, I
pain.
know, I know, I know. So yeah, so that's that. I joined the gym. I try and go 2 or 3 times a week, and then I try and walk on the days that I'm not going to the gym. Some days I don't manage any of it. I mean, you just gotta let it,
Hmm.
you just gotta
But
go with
do
the
you know what? I
flow.
think everyone's like that. We're going to
Yeah,
have some days where we don't really want to do much. And I think it's having a bit of grace for us with ourselves. And then actually, it's okay if I'm not going to do much today because, it's like I said earlier, it's looking at the bigger picture and the grand scheme of things. If you're going to the gym a few times a week, you're eating well, you're looking after yourself, you're sleeping well, that kind of thing. It all accumulates over time.
yeah, yeah. So yes, that's kind of where I'm at.
It's
Um,
a journey. That is a journey and a half,
it
Sheila.
is a journey, and I am learning more about. So, like I say, I'm learning more about because when I went on holiday and things, I mean, I had
Hmm.
pizzas, I had pasta, I had those kind of things, and you know, I didn't put on that much weight at all, right?
Mm,
But then, like this weekend, I tend to find if I eat, yeah. So, for me, that was potatoes and sugar, right? That
mm.
did that this weekend. So I put on more after this weekend on the scales than I did for 10 nights holiday.
Interesting.
It is
But
interesting, and
also,
that's
it
what
just
I'm
goes to show
learning.
a lot
Yeah,
of the time, the body is so unpredictable. Like, there's times when I'm coaching members, they'll say, "Oh, I had like a really heavy weekend of eating food. I've stood on the scales and I've lost weight." Like, make it make sense. And sometimes it just doesn't. And I think that's why you have to go with it. You've got to listen to your body. You have to give it what it needs. You have to fuel it well. But equally, you still have to give it a little bit of what you want because there are going to be times that it's not genuine hunger and maybe we just want a little bit of chocolate, but then it's finding that balance, isn't it, and finding
yeah,
what works for
yeah.
us and what doesn't.
There were quite a lot in wine involved this weekend as well, though. Because again,
And that's going to have an impact on your cravings the next day as well.
yeah, but it did definitely,
Mm,
did definitely. But there's no way. I mean, the one thing that has made this weight loss journey, brilliant from my perspective is I haven't felt deprived
mm,
at all. I've still had my glass of wine or a glass of beer or whatever, and I haven't felt, you know, deprived in any way, shape, or form. So that has
that's really,
been
really good.
the big thing for me, definitely. So have we got any
Oh,
questions
fantastic.
anyway,
We
Jem?
have, we've got a couple of questions that have come in. So let me get them up. So, oh, one of them is actually just saying, "Hi, both. I'm on week five." Week five, nice. Weight of my weight loss injections. So I'm really interested to hear what Sheila has to share today.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely love it.
Oh, do you remember week five of yours? Do you remember like the beginning stages and how you felt in the beginning?
Um, I just remember that after the first week, just thinking, "Oh my God, I'm not hungry," and
Mm,
having to remind myself to eat,
of
and
course.
and also the other thing is you can forget to drink as well, on this medication.
Mm.
I know, I have found it. I have
How did
to.
you remember to drink?
Well, sometimes I don't, right? But what I tend to do now is I tend to make a big jug. I've got like a 2 litre jug, and I tend to
Mm.
make that jug of dilute juice, maybe lemon juice or
Yeah.
orange juice or something like that. And so I know if I am drunk, I know if I haven't drunk it all,
You haven't, then you need to drink a
yeah,
little bit more, of
yeah.
course. Have you tried setting reminders or things on your calendar to, because I know a lot of people have the exact same issue where they forget to drink on a good day. So setting those reminders or even like scheduling things in their calendar can just remind them to have a glass of water. Because otherwise you can go the whole day and you might not have had anything, especially if you're having tea and coffee as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I haven't tried reminders. I just try and, I try and take a bottle of water wherever I
Mm,
go. Um, if I'm at the gym, it's okay because I'm just drinking it all the time whilst I'm at
of
the gym.
course.
And then I've got it with me. Or if I go walking, I take it, I take it with me as well.
Mm,
Um, so I tend to take a bottle everywhere, but I mean, sometimes I come home and it's still, I haven't touched it, you
Sheila,
know?
I'm gonna be messaging you every day, being like, "Have you drank your water today?" You're gonna get sick of
Oh, I
me.
know it's terrible because dehydration, is just
Hmm.
horrendous. I mean, it's really
Yeah.
bad for you,
And sometimes
isn't
we
it?
don't realize we're dehydrated. And actually, it's something to keep in mind as well when you start to reduce the medication. If you don't want those cravings to come back as much and you want to make sure that you're not eating for the sake of eating, hydration is so important because a lot of the time we mistake thirst for hunger. And then once we have that glass of water, we're like, actually, I wasn't really genuinely hungry. I was just thirsty.
Yeah, yeah,
So keep
definitely,
it in mind.
definitely.
I will be
I will.
reminding you.
Oh, and one thing, I did get dehydrated quite a bit actually if I think about it at the start of the program. So I did I did take electrolytes,
Hmm.
the powdered electrolytes because then
I
I
think there's
found that
so many different ones out there
yeah,
now.
yeah, because I did find that, I did get dehydrated even if I made an effort to
Mm.
to drink. I did find that.
Do
Um
you add a little bit of salt to your meals? Because that can help.
um A little bit sometimes, but at the moment, I'm trying to watch my blood pressure a little bit,
Mm.
because it's kind of, it's been a bit high recently. I don't know why, but
Oh, interesting. Have you
yeah.
been to
So,
your GP about
oh
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay,
You
good.
have an annual MOT every,
MOT, I love
when you
that.
get to, yeah, well, you do when you get to your 60s, that's it then. You get all these, well,
Mm,
you get it before that actually in your 50s as well. You get an annual check and things. But yeah. So no, I'm trying to cut down on the salt a little bit. But
of course, of course.
so have we got any more
We've
questions,
got
Jem?
one question that has come in from Clayton. Said, hi both. Oh no, sorry, I've just read that one out. We got Amanda who said, can you explain how the doses work?
The doses,
Hmm. So I
right?
know that yours has probably changed a little bit, hasn't it, since you started the program?
Right. So um most people now are probably on Monjaro, right? So, and that is a different dosage structure to Wegovy, which is what I've been on for the 19 months. So, when I first started in August 23, um, there was only Wegovy available, right? And that's just got one of the hormones in GLP-1. Whereas last year, excuse me, is when Monjaro became available. So Monjaro became available in 2024, and that's got two hormones in it, GLP-1 and GIP. But it's a different kind of like level. I think with that you start off at I think you start off at 2.5, go to 5 milligram, then 7.5, and then 10, and then 15, I believe, on
Hmm.
Monjaro. With Wegovy that I was on, I started at 0.25, went up to half a milligram, then to 1 and 1.7, and then 2.4. And 2.4 is the maximum dose on Wegovy, which is what I've been on since
Mm,
around January last year. I think I've been on maximum dose. And the maximum dose for Monjaro, I believe, is 15 milligrams. So, and it's about just seeing what kind of like, works for you. But there are
mm.
recommendations of as to when you move up the dosage structure. So I
Hmm.
would suggest, so who is it, sorry, that asked the question?
So this person, so I'm not sure if they're on the if they're on the second nature
All right.
program or not. I think they just wanted to know a little bit about how the doses work. So I think that's probably quite helpful in itself. If you are or you aren't on the second nature program, because we do have a regular program with coach support without the medication, but we've also got the medication supported program. If you go onto our website, which is www.secondnature.io, you can do an eligibility quiz, and that can see if you're eligible for the program or not. And then that gives a little bit more information in terms of pricing and structure and things like that. And, if you do have any questions, you can reach out to our support team, and all the details are on our website. So hopefully that will help a little bit as well.
Yeah. I mean, certainly if you're on the program, you will be guided as to,
Mm,
the dosage. But I mean, the important thing is to start off at the lowest dose. Make sure your body is compatible with you,
hmm
and your body, because sometimes, I've had some friends who have been on Wegovy, and it's
hmm
not been good for them. They've not felt good on it at all. So they've moved to Monjaro, and they've felt lots better, and they've got on with it much better. And I've also got other friends
Mm.
who've done the other way around,
It
right?
it just goes back. It's individual, isn't it? Like what works
Yeah,
for one might not
yeah.
work for another.
And for me, I mean, I was offered to be able to move to Monjaro last year, but because the Wegovy was working for me and I didn't have any side effects, and
Mm,
it just felt really easy and for me to carry on with. Well, I did have a few side effects, but not, you know, I
anything
didn't
too
feel
much.
unwell. Nothing was
Mm,
debilitating. So I just stuck with Wegovy instead of, putting my body through
no,
changing over
that
from
makes
one to the
sense.
other. But I
That
mean, I
makes
think the
sense.
important thing is to start off at the low dosage and build your way up.
Build from there.
Don't go diving in, because
Mm, mm.
your body
It's
does
a
need
big
to get
change for your
used to it.
body.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course, of course. Lovely.
definitely.
Well, Sheila, I think to wrap things up, I would really love to know about the support that you've experienced on the Second Nature program and how important this is to you on your journey.
Oh, it's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, I've just felt like this has been easy, right? This has been so easy to get to lose 6.5 stone. And I am hoping that it's going to be as easy to maintain that
hmm
for the rest of my life, and that's the journey I'm starting now. But in terms of the actual program, I loved the daily stuff that went on when I first kind of joined the program. I
hmm
loved getting the recipe book. You also get a set of scales. I already had the electronic scales that measured your percentage of fat and your BMI
hmm
and things like that. So I already had them, and a smart watch that kind of is connected to it and things like that. But you do get that anyway as part of the program. So yeah, I loved going through the recipe book, trying all the recipes. I love the fact that I was part of a cohort, like a little community, where we were all starting the journey around the same time, and so we could talk as a group. It was great that I had there was a health coach assigned to our cohort, um, who would kind of like, come in with stuff, and people could ask questions, and they would answer. Tom's been our health coach for the
Oh,
majority
we
of
love
the
Tom.
journey that
Tom's fab.
I've been on. Yeah, who's great. But also a lot of the kind of mindset stuff and the daily videos and that I listen to. Like I say, I used to listen to them when I was out walking and things. And if I
Mm,
missed a few, they were only like some 10 minutes long. So they were easy to kind of listen to. So I just listened to quite a few. So that was really good too. And the medical team as well. There's a medical team on hand. There's the monthly check-in where you're sending in your weight, but also
hmm
you're tracking your weight, but you're also tracking your waist measurement too, which is great. And the medical team and then obviously, have you had any side effects? So you kind of like on a monthly basis, you feel
mm,
like you know you're being kept an eye on, and there's
Being
always
looked
someone
after.
there. There's always someone there that you can speak to about anything you know
Mm,
that might be going on. So yeah, I mean, second nature, it's just been life changing for me. It really has. And now I'm about to start the journey um for lifetime maintenance. So yeah, watch this space. I'm going to be sharing it if anybody
watch the
wants to kind of
space.
follow that journey to maintenance, where I'm learning, um how to do it, and
Mm,
whether I can come off the medication um totally. I might not be able to. I mean, I'm just keeping an open mind about
mm,
that. I mean, we've got to realize is this, is a chronic condition, and you wouldn't stop taking medication for high blood pressure or asthma
of
or
course.
any other chronic condition, diabetes that you might have.
Mm,
So, I'm keeping an open mind as to whether I'll be able, whether I need some level of medication, going forward or not. But yeah,
of
so
course.
I'm going to be doing videos.
Love
Um,
it. We've got you all
yeah,
over TikTok and
yeah, I'll
Instagram.
be on TikTok and Insta, darling.
Amazing.
Right, yeah.
So anyone who's listening, you can keep up with us on our monthly Q&As here. We live stream them on YouTube across our social channels. So if you are tuning in today for the first time, go over to our YouTube, which is Second Nature Health, and you can watch the other four parts of this series. And then yeah, and Sheila will be leading us and showing us what's going on in her life while she reduces the medication, and I get to be here as your humble sidekick and see the journey as we go. But thank you so much for sharing all of that tonight, Sheila. It's been really, really useful. I hope everyone watching has found the same. And we will be back next month for our next installment. So, guys, have a fantastic evening. Sheila, thank you again. And thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. And if you'd
Bye.
like, sorry, Jem, I was just going to say, if anybody's interested in a particular theme, right, tell us what it is, and we
Mm,
can do one of the
yes.
webinars on that.
I would, yeah, that is such a great idea. If you go onto our YouTube channel, actually, you could post in the comments different themes that you'd like to see under the videos. That would be a great way to do it. And then we can do it based on the audience. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Love
Lovely.
it.
Have a nice
Right.
evening.